There's one area that I've been really struggling with lately, and that is what's next for my business. Now, if you're new here, my name is Vaughn Littlejohns. I am currently a Deputy Principal. However, I'm about to move to Thailand and take on a new role as Director of Technology and Innovation. But for the last 2 years, I've been diving into the world of entrepreneurship, and I've started an online course and community. And I've gone through two sort of variations of that over the last 2 years. And there's a couple of fundamental issues that I've found with that model that I've been running. And it's been ideally trying to train teachers on how to teach, and obviously looking at aspirational leaders and then getting them success in that path. Now, the challenge that I've found is, one, teachers don't really necessarily engage in communities, courses, all that kind of stuff outside of school hours, because they're already exceptionally busy to add on an additional thing. I was running weekly coaching calls for about 6 to 7 weeks, part of the cohort, and I was finding that the attendance rates were really sporadic. That was one challenge. The next challenge was the actual course content, that pre-recorded course content, wasn't really getting followed through with. However, the most engagement that I got was when I ran masterclasses, 2-hour sessions on a specific problem and showing the specific solution. And that worked a treat. The other aspect that really worked well was when I did one-on-one coaching. And that was working with that person, mainly aspiring leaders, and working through various different frameworks and using the growth coaching model to actually get the solutions from that person. Because ideally, and more than likely, they are coming with the solutions. I'm just helping them get clarity. The last couple of weeks, I've been running these masterclasses in person on AI in education. Now, considering my new role is going to be Director of Technology and Innovation, my entire job is going to be down focusing on AI and innovation, technology, integration, sustainable practice, put it that way. I'm looking at changing from a cohort community-based entrepreneur sort of model, where I'm at the moment teaching from A to Z of education, and it's too much, and the engagement rates are nowhere near where they should be, but the most feedback and the value I've been sort of giving or receiving is along the lines of one-on-one coaching. People are literally just going, oh my gosh, I couldn't have done this without you. For example, one head teacher, a relieving head teacher, I've worked with them for nearly 20 weeks over 2 years, and so that's an hour a week for 20 weeks over the 2 years, so sporadically throughout that time. And the feedback I got from them was just overwhelmingly positive. They were like, this is incredible. I would never have gotten where I am today. I owe so much of my expertise and confidence down to our conversations in our coaching. And I was like, that's fantastic. And I've recently just completed a growth coaching accreditation program. It was an intense 6-month learning process where I had to go through 100 hours of coaching, where I had to be the coach or the coachee. I went through all these concept modules. I went through written reflections, all these things, peer observations, a lot. But now I'm officially an accredited coach. And what does that mean? It means I am able to deliver a service to help people get from A to Z or A to B and help clarify their thinking using the growth coaching frameworks. So what's next for my world in entrepreneurship? Because I'm going to Thailand, and there's all of that workload and all that new culture and that growth, which I'm super excited about. But the next phase is opening the doors of my current community, which is paid at the moment, but opening it to free, where any training that I run is hosted through that community. And then the service, the business entrepreneur part where I'd paid would be the working one-on-one and the coaching that I can give one-on-one, because then I can give the most amount of value to that person. I can show up to that person, and there's more accountability for them and for me to actually engage in the process. So opening the doors to the community at large. Any training I offer, they come in for free, they can engage, they don't have to engage, they can watch, they don't have to watch, but they're there. And if they're getting value, they will naturally go, hey, look, I want to work with you one-on-one. Because a lot of the people I've been working with lately have been aspiring leaders, they've been aspiring in the business world as well, and they have very, very specific questions and very specific problems that don't necessarily relate to everyone in that community. But the core content, the core modules that I've been delivering over the last couple of weeks, for example, AI in education, is really, really applicable to basically every educator, because it's coming like a steam train, and the feedback that I've gotten from these workshops has been overwhelmingly positive. So I believe that's the next phase. And it's taken me a long time to figure that out, because I basically stopped running my community coaching calls end of last term, which was probably about February, March, just because the engagement wasn't there and I was getting defeated. And ultimately, it wasn't the problem of me showing up or the value I was giving, it was the timing. The timing was just not right for everyone, because everyone is busy. So that is the next iteration. That's where I'm going to plan, because then I can basically focus on my new role as Director of Technology and Education and Leadership in Thailand, and then provide as much value as I can in that group context, and then work with people one-on-one in that paid context. Because, there's this phrase that Alex Mosey would say, that you need to master your give to ask ratio. Too many people in business will give once and then ask for payment immediately, rather than mastering the ratio. And he says give, and then ask after you've given some more. Building that social capital, building that connection and a rapport can make a big difference in what we are looking at doing. So if that sort of helped clarify anyone else's thinking, I'll be interested to hear what you have to say. But what I'll do is I'll leave a link in the description. You can access the community there. You just need a request, and then I'm hosting it through a platform called School, and you can request access. And then once I've done that, I can let you in, and you can access all my old training modules, all my course content. You can start engaging with people in that forum. And if you're looking for one-on-one coaching, I'm happy to take on a few clients before I move overseas, and then we can figure out the rest from there. So keep evolving, keep growing, keep thinking critically, because we're creating real impact in education, and we're doing that together. So remember, effort equals results. I'll see you in the next one.